James Gunn's Superman is the worst fucking movie that's ever been made. I stayed true to what I said. While it's closed, I'm not giving money to James Gunn, the freak, or DC. But I did watch Superman fully somehow, and I don't know how they did it, but James Gunn has managed to make the worst superhero movie ever made. Before we go any further, just be warned that this is not hyperbole. This is not rage bait. This movie is a disgrace to filmmaking. And if you saw the movie and you agree and you want to help out this channel, maybe consider subscribing or supporting me over on Patreon. So there's been a lot of reviews from everybody all across the internet, and I'm gonna be honest, a lot of these people are just lying because they don't want to destroy the movie. People are saying it isn't woke and it isn't even that bad. Some people are saying it's a 10 out of 10 that's better than Iron Man, Avengers Endgame. And I'm here to tell you that everybody on all sides of this are lying. Once again, it isn't rage bait. If you watch this movie, try to make out the structure. Who greenlit this script? Is there a beginning, a middle, or even an end? Or are we just dropped into the worst movie ever created by man? That's exactly what it is. Because from all the trailers, I thought that this movie was going to be terrible, but still a fun time. And there was one fun part that could be excused, which was Nathan Fillion's Guy Gardner, which I actually found kind of funny. But other than like 5 seconds of footage where Superman and Lois were acting like they were in an actual Superman movie, this was a piece of crap. And I can't really stress it enough. There's pieces of crap, and then there's this movie. It's really easy for a movie to be bad. Superman, on the other hand, is like the Flash times 1,000. I can't really put it into words if you haven't watched this movie. There's no structure, there's no writing, there's no acting. The CGI is terrible. There's so much comedy it'll make you want to pluck your own eyes out. Every time Superman even comes close to doing anything that's anyway good, he just gets knocked over by a dog. Lex Luthor is a stupid analogy for Donald Trump and racism. There's lesbian girl bosses running around. There's an emphasis on Gen Z and TikTok for some reason. Superman is whining for the entire movie. His voice is so high pitched and the dude never stops screaming and being autistic. I don't know how I can say it anymore. This movie is the most retarded thing to ever exist. Genuinely, I've watched a lot of movies from many different countries, time periods. I'm not bragging here. I'm just saying that I know that Superman is probably in the top 3 worst of all of them. Forget every crappy B movie ever made. Forget like, I don't know, Plan 9 from Outer Space being the worst movie ever made. This is it right here. You thought Marvel humor was bad. Well, they have so much of it that you want to die. It literally has some of the worst CGI in a new movie, and I'm not alone on this. Just look at the reviews. So people will jump to Rotten Tomatoes right here and try to prove me wrong, saying that, what are you saying, little bro? The movie is a success. 95 on the audience score. Everybody loves it. I looked through that audience score. It was a big load of bots that loved Crypto, the little cute dog, which was one of the most retarded parts about the entire movie. You come over to a real source like, I don't know, Empire Magazine, and they have it rated 2 out of 5 stars. Saying exactly what I'm saying. The movie is so messy and garbage. The end of the movie is just a CGI mess. The Guardian, 2 out of 5 stars. I don't really know what people are seeing here, but it's getting destroyed. Another news source says it's painfully mediocre. Another news source rates it 2.5 stars out of 5. I don't know what I'm missing here. The movie isn't some 10 out of 10. Everybody knows it's spasticated. You just don't want to hear it. Now, I'd love to go in depth and show everything on screen, but I just need to tell you, for the people who haven't watched this movie, how ridiculously bad this is. For the first hour of the movie, Superman is on the ground screaming and whining. That's not a joke. It's not rage bait. He literally doesn't get up off of the ground for a full 60 minutes. He's in some pocket wormhole universe, and in that universe, Lex Luthor, who is terrible and gay by the way for some reason, he just shows up and shows Superman that everybody online trying to cancel Superman, typing angry comments, aren't actually real. They're a big load of monkeys typing at a keyboard. No, that's not a joke. I didn't make that up. James Gunn is saying that everybody hating and review bombing Superman are monkeys. So let me just do the math real quick. He's not only calling me and everybody who doesn't like the movie a monkey. If you're an Indian kid or if you're a black person who says something on Twitter against James Gunn, he thinks you're a monkey. That's really not a good look. And speaking of not good looks, David Corn Sweat looks about 400 pounds in the terribly made suit. There's kids all over this movie. Why do you ask? mask because it's a James Gunn production, and we'll just pretend like this guy isn't a freak. Every single person in Metropolis is Indian and play really big parts in the movie, like some random Indian convenience store worker or something comes up and just says something to Superman and ends up in the plot of the movie. The dude is the linchpin of the entire movie somehow. Some random taco vendor. Forget what everybody is telling you, saying that Man of Steel and every other superhero movie is dark and gritty, and this one is hopeful and full of joy. Let's cut out the politics for a second. This is a disgrace to making movies in general. People talk about how bad Deadpool and Wolverine was. It had no story. It was just cameos for the entire thing. This is the exact same and 10 times worse. I'm not overreacting and I'm not making a big deal out of it. This movie doesn't have a plot. It has no story. It has barely any redeeming elements. People make fun of it all the time. The American acting legend Kevin Costner, who played Superman's dad in Man of Steel. And people are actually saying that these two random spastics that they have in Superman 2025 is somehow better. Watch the movie and tell me that his two parents aren't extremely retarded. Why are they two backwards rednecks who I do not care about? The only few things I can think of that are semi-even passable was Nathan Fillion's Guy Gardner, which was funny because the dude was just a douchebag. And Lois Lane and Clark Kent weren't really that bad, except for when Clark had an autistic meltdown and his voice went so high-pitched like some little bitch. And Lois Lane goes off on a monologue about fake punk rock. Superman is sipping cocoa and crying his eyes out for the entire movie. And we see here we're going to be getting spin-offs with Mr. Terrific and Jimmy Olsen. These people weren't scene stealers like people are going to try to tell you online. Mr. Terrific was some black dude who had some ridiculously caricature accent of like a preacher down south. And also he had more screen time than Superman. And the same goes for Jimmy Olsen, who was acting really weird throughout the entire movie. Like all these girls wanted to go out with him and the dude was just acting gay, like he didn't want any part in it. Oh yeah, and he also had more screen time than Superman. And James Gunn and DC are talking here about how they're going to be making tons of new TV shows and movies, bringing together the Justice League. I don't know how anybody could be excited for this after watching Superman. The Hall of Justice was Guy Gardner, Mr. Terrific and Hawk Girl sitting around in a massive empty room. And you see some handicap here. Don't let anybody tell you nobody cares about Superman. Are you blind? I just showed you 20 reviews from massive news sources that all just said it was a 2 out of 5. This isn't The Dark Knight. This isn't Iron Man. It isn't even Man of Steel. And it definitely isn't Christopher Reeve in Superman the movie. This isn't even an 8 out of 10. It's like, I don't know, a 1 out of 10. This isn't a movie. It's a big load of CGI for 2 hours. And this story just came out that Ta-Nehisi Coates was going to make a black Superman movie. And it actually got cancelled because they realized that it was too woke. Nobody wants to watch some civil rights activist black race swapped Superman. But at the end, as a little caveat, James Gunn will still probably make the movie in the future. Who wants that? I don't even want David Corn Sweat Superman. That was the non-woke version. The movie with the two warring factions and countries that definitely don't represent a certain conflict in the Middle East that's happening right now. Don't try to tell me that this movie isn't woke or not political. If you think that, go screw yourself. It is. The entire movie is about Trump, immigrants, and as I just mentioned, other conflicts in other countries. I really don't know what I'm missing here. This movie was the biggest heap of shit I've ever watched. At first I found it funny to just laugh at it from the trailers, but watching it, it was just so bad I couldn't even believe it. How did a movie like this ever get greenlit? So much focus on comedy and random dogs banging into people and Superman whining and screaming and crying. This is beyond Marvel humor. I don't think anybody could excuse this. Superman is an objectively terrible movie. If you're a movie critic or you consider yourself anti-woke and you're saying that this movie is just okay, it's not even that bad, it's not even woke, I don't know what's wrong with you up here, but you need to wake up. Quality was just non-existent with James Gunn's Superman. Do not watch this movie. Do not take your kids to go see it. It's filled with a big load of unnecessary cursing and political agenda. They spent 20 minutes of the movie talking about Superman's harem. What the hell? Who wrote that in the script? So Superman's original parents and Krypton just go straight out the window. Spoiler alert, sorry to break it to you, but his parents are just evil for some reason. And then his fake parents down on Earth are two handicaps. The peak of this movie is Superman flying into Lex Luthor's office and crying to him. And then Superman's dog knocks Lex Luthor over. That's every single scene. It ends with somebody getting knocked over, some cutaway to a Marvel humor joke, or a cute little dog that we're all supposed to find funny. And at the end of the movie, Supergirl shows up and calls Superman a bitch, and then gets knocked over by a dog. I couldn't make this any more funny even if I wanted to, and it still has all the touches of a James Gunn disaster. The vile human piece of shit, James Gunn, and his brother both came out before this movie just a couple days ago and were laughing and sneering at everybody.
It is exactly what the movie is about, I think, that like we support our people, you know? We love our immigrants. Yes, Superman is an immigrant. And yes, if you don't like that, then you're not American.
You said it's an immigrant story. It's a political movie. MAGA today is going nuts. What do you have to say to MAGA?
I don't have anything. I think this movie's for everybody. I don't have anything to say to anybody. Like, I'm not here.
MAGA today was getting a little upset that he called Superman an immigrant. I wanted to get your reaction.
Somebody needs a hug.
It's not review bombing, it's not Snyder cult. I do not care about Zack Snyder's Man of Steel. The dude is a terrible movie maker as well, but 10 trillion times better than James Gunn. Stop coping and saying that James Gunn is a great filmmaker. I've watched most of the guy's movies. Not one of them is good. Endless needle drops with crappy music and Marvel humor does not make a good movie. This is not a new era of hope for the superhero. This is the end. If this is the best you can come up with, I don't even know if you could call this filmmaking. I don't consider myself a critic. I'm not some pretentious douchebag who's gonna sit here and say that, oh, they didn't have the right camera work or the correct way of writing your movie. But to be honest, this movie had no structure and it was shot terribly. It's not like Sam Raimi's Spider-Man one bit, and everybody who says that needs to go screw themselves. Sam Raimi's Spider-Man is the example of what this should have been. This movie is not comic booky. There isn't one comic book where Superman gets his ass kicked by a dog, starts crying, then gets called a bitch to his face. It's not accurate to any comic book, it's just goofy and stupid and retarded. So finally, for the last time, do not watch Superman. It's genuinely, truthfully, sincerely one of the worst things I've ever seen. And if you're a real fan that already knew that, then thanks for watching and maybe consider subscribing. And if you're one of those woke retards who liked it, stick it up your ass. Go complain to your boyfriend.